Now, next up, we've got another Neuro Talk for you. An amazing individual. You guys all see her picture. You're already excited for Miss Cindy Gould to join us up here on stage. She is a seasoned entrepreneur. She is a champion for helping other champions be victorious. She's a TV host, a podcast host, an amazing individual, a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist, a proud mom and grandmother. And I ask you to help give a very warm NeuroEncoding Institute welcome to Miss Cindy Gould. Cindy! Thank you.
Have you ever noticed how grief is just like the ocean? It comes in waves, right? I mean, some, they're just huge and powerful and they just knock you over. Others are more subtle and your feet barely get wet. Then there's those ginormous ones and you see them coming, so you can brace yourself. And other waves, you just gotta ride. My name is Cindy Gould. I am a renewing dual elite neuroencoding and specialist, yes, thank you. A joy catalyst and your victorious life strategist and coach. I am an expert in fear mitigation, fear obliteration, and fear replacement. I took this picture in January of 2022 at Cannon Beach, having just left my cousin at the hospital in Dallas after spending a few precious days with him before he was vented. You know, put on a ventilator. Unfortunately, a term that we are far too familiar with. I went to the beach to pull myself together before going back home. I was shocked, I was traumatized, I was heartbroken, and yet I was so grateful that I got to spend a few days with him while he was awake. Like many of you, I didn't get to say goodbye to my son Mana a few months before this. Do you know anybody, or have you ever experienced yourself having a loved one leave a bit too soon or unexpected? It's horrible, right? I poured my heart out to God on that beach. So much unexpected loss in such a short period of time. I was struggling to find solid ground. First, my son Mana in August, and then my auntie and Aaron, 2 people, in September, and then one of my best friends, Kathy, in October, and then my sweet, precious father in November, plus my divorce was final in December, and now John in January. One huge wave after another, just like a tsunami. I could barely catch my breath in between the waves. Was there ever a time in your life where you couldn't catch your breath either? So what do? Well, this Hawaiian, I went to the beach. You want to know something really cool for me that God did for me there? He reminded me of some really neat things that happened. For example, 2 weeks before I moved out and separated, in April of 2021, I became a founding member of the NeuroEncoding Institute, yes, and the Brain Revolution, which is so great. And guess where I got to move? Yep, in with my son Mana and his family. My gentle giant, my sweet Mana, Jared Elia Ho'omana O'io Na'oni, it's a mouthful, was happily married to his beautiful wife Holly, and they have 5 spectacular children. What mother gets that opportunity? Like, I got to see him be a husband and a father. We laughed, we ate, we danced, we ate, we played, we ate. All his favorite foods. I mean, it was so great. What a tender mercy for me, right? Neither one of us knew what was coming in August. You see, Mana had never been sick a day in his life, not even a cold, not at all. And at the end of July, he became ill. And on August 7th, 2021, he moved back home to heaven. You know what's wild is that after my cousin John in January, I had another one leave and another best friend, totaling 8. Each unexpected loved ones moved back home to heaven, plus my divorce within 7 months. You know when you have a tidal wave like that in your life, you only have 2 choices, right? You can either sink or swim. So in my treading of water, thank goodness I'm Hawaiian, I started reflecting on my loved ones. Like, what do they do up there all day? You ever think about that? Like, who gets chosen to be on the street crew of the Streets of Gold? Do they have Taco Tuesday? Do they have Tuesday? Do they have Poi and Lau Lau? I mean, think about it. What in the world do they do up there all day? Do they even know what's going on here? Of course they do, right? Then I started thinking about what my loved ones did while they were here. And poof, my why was born. What are each of you doing while you're here? What are we all doing, right? So I came across a study by the Wealth Research Group that said mostly due to fear, 98% of the people will die without fulfilling their dreams, whether it's hesitation, procrastination, fear of success or failure, imposter syndrome, self-loathing, or the ever so popular fear of rejection, right? It's all fear. And those fears are the fuel to the literal thieves of our dreams. It's kind of like a thief showing up to your house and you saying, come on in, here's the jewelry. Hold on, I bet you could use some cash. Let me grab that from the safe for you. Well, would you do that? Of course not. So why are we doing that with our dreams? It's nuts, right? So there's like 8 billion people on the planet, right? So what that research says is 7,840,000,000 people are going to leave here without doing what they came here to do because they're afraid. Not because God didn't give them the vision, not because they're not resourced to do it, not because they're not equipped to do it. It's seriously because they're afraid. Put in easy terms, there's about 75, 80 people in here. So Annette and Yayoi. Are you in here, Yayoi? Yes, you are. Okay, so what that research says is these two chicas, they're it. They're the two that get to leave here fulfilling their dreams. I mean, think about it. Out of all the people, two, they stayed in alignment with their assignment and they fulfilled their missions. So my question to you, thanks, girls. My question to you is simple. Will you be one of the two? Or will you take your gifts to the grave with you and not fulfill your mission? You know, Les Brown said it perfectly. The wealthiest place on the planet is just down the road. It's the cemetery. Therein lie buried companies that were never started, inventions that were never made, books that were never written, and masterpieces that were never painted. In the cemetery is buried the greatest treasure of untapped potential. Trust me when I say, I get it. I have stayed stuck playing too small for far too long. You know, dimming my light when I should sparkle and shine, quieting my voice when I should sing it from the rooftops, right? Or shrinking when I should stand up front and center. What's tragic is that out of all those 8, only one of them left here having fulfilled their dreams. The others took their gifts to the grave with them, some of their gifts. My Mana had so many things he still wanted to do. What about you? What do you have left to do? So have you ever just laid it out before God? Like just laid it out. Whatever you're angry about, whatever you're terrified of, whatever you're afraid of, wherever you're stuck, whatever's holding you back, whatever that trauma is that you keep tripping over, whatever that wave is that you keep allowing to knock you over, have you ever just let it rip? You know you can do that, right? Because trust me, he can handle it. Because back on that beach, did I let it rip? Just like the riptides. Like, I want to say that I was devastated, but I was gutted. Like, I was gutted, you know, and I didn't really know what to do with that. I was afraid. I wasn't really sure what I should do next. So with tears streaming down my face, I had a conversation, and it went something like this. Father, you of anybody else know exactly how I'm feeling. And yes, of course, I'm happy they made it home safely to you, albeit the timing really sucks. And yes, I have read many times that Jesus wept. Well, in case you haven't noticed, Father, your daughter's weeping too. I'm weeping too. And I finally took a breath, and I asked a question. How do I ride this wave and not get drowned, or worse, get tossed around endlessly? And his answer was simple and powerful. Keep your eyes on me. Know that my love for you is deeper than this ocean. And I've got you, sweetheart. I've got you. And boy, has he had me. Like, look at the timing of neuroencoding in my life. Are you kidding me right now? Like, I mean, look at it. Who gets to do that? Do you know how many times I did the stop technique? And I didn't even have to make myself feel sad, bad, fierce, or mad. I had that in spades. But you know what was wild is that it was not just many times a day. It was many times an hour on some days, right? Have you been there? So true. You know what, though? It's wild because it wasn't to stop myself from grieving, because grieving's important. It was to stop myself from getting stuck there, right? I also learned another breakthrough strategy. There's this profound moment in the Last Supper where Jesus knows he's sitting at the table, and he knows he's about to be betrayed by one of his loved ones who's sitting at the table with him. And he still took the bread, he blessed it, and he gave thanks, and then he served it. And we're also told to give thanks in all things, right? And to count it all joy. So if fear is the fuel to our failures, and gratitude annihilates fear, then doesn't gratitude also fuel our successes? And have you ever noticed how it too is just like the ocean? I'd like to invite you to please close your eyes for a few minutes. Take a deep breath and shake your hands out. And let that breath out. Keeping your eyes closed, imagine yourself at the beach. It's 85 degrees. You can hear the waves. Your skin is hot to the touch. You walk towards the water, and a wave gently washes up against you. Doesn't that feel so refreshing? And keeping your eyes closed, put a huge smile on your face as it washes all over you. Then another wave comes, and another, and they're joyful and fun. And imagine with each wave, your fears and your cares are being swept away in the tide. Can you feel the joy that you have? Now take another deep breath and let it out. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. Now those waves are the waves of gratitude. So I started to stack my gratitudes, and every time I would have a wave of sadness or sorrow or fear, I would give it a minute, and then I would shift the tide, so I had a tsunami of gratitude. I would think of all the many blessings that I have, and I have so many to be thankful for. And I used Joseph's suggestion of every single morning writing them down, past, present, and future, encoding my brain, right, so that I had those thoughts readily available. Because we all know what you write, you... Thank you. You invite. Now, I don't share my story to bring sadness. It's really a story of victory. My desire is to inspire you to reframe parts of your life, looking for all the incredible blessings that you have, and to see how very loved you really are. My mission is to guide you and others to stop tripping over their traumas and to ride the waves of your life, creating the life of your deepest desires by obliterating your fears. When you get rid of those fears, you will be victorious every day, all day. And I want you to take a look around. Look around this room. Do you have any idea what it took for God to gather us all together this week, right now, in this moment, right this second? A zillion years ago, Joseph had to be given a book, Think and Grow Rich. He didn't just have to read it, he had to eat it, he had to be about it. And he did that from the time he was 19 till he was 32. Then not only did he have to align himself with Tony and other people, Les Brown, and I think he met Matthew 30 years ago. You know, he had to, but Tony had to align himself with Joseph, thank you, right? And then on the other side of the world was Vinu, on the other side of the US, and she was getting herself together. She was getting alignment. She got into the Tony world so that when the two of them met, their spirits knew each other and they were in alignment. Meanwhile, at the John Maxwell camp, we had Kay, Shai, Megan, Stephen, Michael, all of them perfecting everything they had to perfect to bring it to us so that we can take this into the world. What did it take you to get here? For me, I had to go to UPW. Joseph walks on the stage. I was UPW Miami. And I'm like, wait, whoa, who is that? I paid for Tony. And then and then he's done, and I'm like, wait, don't leave. I need more. And here I am, right? How many of you went to UPW, right? Some of you are from, exactly. Whatever it took, I'm going to tell you that you are here on purpose, with a purpose. Part of that purpose is to bring light and love to a suffering and hurting world with transformational tools that we have. It is our responsibility to do that. It's ours. I believe that we are part of God's strategy to do that. I do, and that's why we're here. Most of you, thank you. I agree. Most of you have no idea the heavenly backup that you have. Just fly the plane. Who cares? Use duct tape. It's gonna fly, right? It's gonna fly. The biggest thing for me is, remember those two girls? I refuse to be part of that research, right? What about you? Like, what about you? I stood on that empty beach by myself that day, knowing that I wasn't alone. And neither are you. Look around. Neither are you. Now, I would love to get some feedback or maybe even a testimony about my presentation. Here's my QR code. Please let me know how you're going to ride the waves in your life into victory. I'm Cindy Gould, and it's such a privilege and honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Well done.